It was like, oh, maybe around 96, 97. We took on the truancy issue because that's one way that the state gets our kids into the criminal justice system. Once they file truancy, once they miss so many days of school, they file truancy, and then the kid appears in court. They don't go on their own. There's a warrant issued, and they're picked up and hauled, and they sit in juvenile center till they make a court appearance. And they're put on probation for it. And after that, it furthers whether they get, no matter what, anything they do wrong or get caught doing, it's a probation violation, so it escalates into a criminalization of the kids through the truancy. And the reason I fought this was the Minnesota Chippewa tribe and all these reservations get tons of money. They get millions of money for education. And I'm saying, and my argument was the tribe by now can develop something other than criminalizing our kids to educate them. They're saying they're doing that for their own good. They've got to be educated. Well, I don't think they need to be criminalized to be educated. I think the tribe should have developed programs to work with these kids. I mean, they never ask a kid. I've been to court many times for my own kids and for with others for truancy. They never, ever, is there anybody working with the kid to find out why that kid does not like school or why they're not going to school, no matter what the reason is. They don't care. They're criminals because they're not attending school. The tribe could have alternative education programs working with them. They could have a number of other things that I could think of besides using that county court system. But what happened was the state, we knew, didn't have any jurisdiction over truancy, and we proved that in court. We actually won our county court case. But then the next RBC meeting, the RBC turns around and signs a resolution and gives the county, the state, to go ahead and keep arresting and charging truancy. That was the tribe's answer to it, to just pass a resolution and tell the county, well, go ahead, you're doing a good job.
Are they still using the county courts?
Yes, they're still using the county courts.
You know they have a tribal court.
They have a tribal court. You can go to county court, but then you got to ask for your case to be transferred to tribal court. You have that option.
It was ironic because in '87, to Amendment 3, when they came to the people and they wanted their own court system, that was the reason they wanted it.
So our kids wouldn't be in court.
Yeah, so, they could just say the own,
they used the children, trying to say it was for the good of the children if we had, why they would want an Amendment 3 passed.
And now that they got their courts, they signed the jurisdiction of the kids over to the state. Now I don't know of people on earth that's ever went to another entity, another sovereign, so to say, and they might have signed a lot of things over, but the jurisdiction of the children. And these RBCs, what we're basically saying here is they're an RBC by their constitution, by what was supposed to be in place there. They've never had the right to go ahead and say settle any land claims dealing with the treaties or anything else, or hunting and fishing, or everybody calls them rights or anything like that. They're talking about the ancient liberties of our people here, our way of life. There's a lot involved in it, more than just hunting and fishing rights, but that's the way they term them. But they never had any authority to deal with any of that. All they were supposed to be able to do was enter into agreements, contracts on the business aspects of the reservation. Like their gas station, they had in the store, and stuff like that. When they were saying in the Constitution to maintain justice for the people, they were supposed to seek justice out and getting a lot of things returned to us. But they didn't have the authority to go ahead, and just turn around and sign everything we had, our sovereign status over to the state of Minnesota or anybody else. I mean, the state of Minnesota couldn't go over and sign, the governor couldn't go over and sign and give the Minnesotans rights over to North Dakota. Or Bush couldn't turn around and sign the rights Americans over to Canada. So how they figure these people have the authority, they can sign all our rights away over to the state of Minnesota. You know,
You brought all these issues up, haven't you, to the state and federal
yeah,
governments?
we brought it all up over and over again. And I'm saying on that hunting and fishing agreement and these other agreements now with the state of Minnesota is just as guilty as the RVCs and the reservation as anybody else. I mean, they're in violation of the United States Constitution, the Commerce Clause. But you don't see the Gonzalez going after them for violation of that Constitution. Nobody's holding them to it.
Another thing is, what about, you know, these attorneys that have always been involved in this corrupt tribal government? Like, let me give you an example of Cass County here at Leech Lake. I mentioned ex-Senator Skip Finn there having that public defender contract, being the tribal attorney. His law partner at the time is now the county court judge in Walker that handles all the juvenile cases. And so you know this attorney has to know some of the law and knows the federal laws that are supposed to be protecting us, and yet ignores them and just goes ahead and prosecutes and does whatever, knowing that it's wrong. They're not following the law, but he's doing it because what? You know, he used to be an attorney with the tribe.
Is that Kimball Matson?
No, that's Dave Harrington. He was Skip Finn's law partner when Skip was indicted. He used to be on that public defender contract too. Same with that prosecutor in that prosecutor's office, Chris Stranley. He was on that Leech Lake public defender office contract defending us. Now he's in the prosecutor's office prosecuting us, and the other guy that was on our public defender contract defending us is now the judge sentencing us.
Okay, thanks.
And what happened on your jurisdictional challenge there? Didn't you challenge the truancy laws with that particular
We won.
judge?
We won. The state does not have the authority to.
And they didn't mention the agreement?
No, but they've since passed the agreement. I just seen that resolution too at the house when we were going through all the papers. But yeah, that RBC passed the resolution. In fact, it was 96 when they passed that resolution. So it had to be in 95, 96 that truancy thing went to court. And we won it. And it was just a county court, actually, so it wasn't no precedent-setting ruling or nothing. But we won it. We got the county to back down. But then all the RBC did was turn around and pass a resolution telling them to go ahead. So they've been going ahead, full steam ahead ever since. And there's still no alternative education programs for our kids, so whatever these guys are doing with all the money that's coming in here for education, a big chunk of that must be going to prosecute these kids and turn them into criminals. That's what I think. So, yeah. But that's sure what it looks like, because they sure don't work with any kids or help them to. There's no education programs here for the kids other than the public school or the bug school. That's their only choice. And they go to one or the other, or they go to Northwest Juvenile Training Center or that Itasca Juvenile Center in Grand Rapids. That's where they go. And that's where they'll go to school. And that's another thing that's another money thing, because where's all that money coming? Because it costs a few $100s a day to keep them kids in them juvenile centers and to school them there, so who's paying for all of that? And why isn't that money put to better use? Let the kids stay home and develop some education programs. Why doesn't the tribe do that when they're the ones that they're assuming all the authority? I mean, I don't think Cass County would need 6 prosecutors, and if it wasn't for the native peoples here.
What started the bug school? Wasn't there a student walkout at Cass Lake?
Yeah. Well, the bug school is totally different when it was started from what it turned out to be now.
How so?
It was supposed to be an alternative to public school. but now it's more, now it's treated as a